What's going on, people? I want to talk about this whole controversial topic regarding Megyn Kelly. Now, she got fired for making a truthful statement. Now, I'm going to attach the link to the show where she made the comment about Blackface and how she felt that there's nothing wrong with dressing in blackface as long as you're dressing as a character on Halloween. And she gave reference to when she was young and growing up, and was saying how it wasn't an issue because you had even black people that dressed as white people, and you had white people that dressed as black people. The white people would put on afros. As a matter of fact, in Buffalo, every year they have the world's largest disco. And I had the opportunity to do some photography there because my cousin was performing there. Okay, he's one of the Blue Notes from Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. So they were performing there, and he got me and some other family members in, and I was able to do some photography and some videography, which I posted it on my Fearless 2005 channel at one time, and of course copyright infringements, whatever, but it's on my Daily Motion page. But at the world's largest disco, you had people, black and white, that were dressing as they were in the 70s, and there was so many white people there that had on the afros, the big afro, and we know that white people didn't wear afro. The very few white people that had that texture hair, or which they kind of played or teased their hair to get it to be in an afro. So you had a lot of white people that had afros, they had the 70s costume on, everybody was dancing, everybody had a good time. Now, when it comes to black people wearing whiteface, and you can see that from Dave Chappelle. He's dressed as a white man. He's got paint on his face to make him look like a white man. Eddie Murphy has done skits where he had his face painted as a white man. But white people didn't make a big deal out of that. And I completely understand where black people are talking as far as caricatures that were done in the past, and those are some very cruel caricatures. You know, the big red lips or white lips and their face painted black, you know, and they getting up there buck dancing, acting like, and it was a form of mockery. But in today's world, you would be surprised at the number of white people that have no idea what blackface really is. They have no idea. And I know that there's blacks out there that say that that's not true, don't believe that, they know that. Now, there have been a few white females that had posted videos on YouTube in blackface. They weren't as a character dressing like Michael Jordan or Michael Jackson or Diana Ross or whoever. They had black face and they was making mockery of black people. See, that's completely understandable. But when you have someone that's dressing as a character like Megyn Kelly was referring to, there's nothing wrong with that. So I don't really see the hype in what she said, and I think that the studio was trying to find reasons to fire her, and that was just a good excuse. And the black people that were in the audience didn't appear to be bothered by that. And if they did, of course they didn't say anything because of course they were in the audience. So I'm going to put the link to where Megyn Kelly made that statement, and it was, in my opinion, it was completely harmless. I mean, even the energy of that show was general, and out of everything they talked about, I guess scarecrows or she had a list of characters that they were saying that you couldn't dress as in Halloween. But that's the climate we live in today. You know, people are controlling even how you dress on Halloween. And she mentioned about how they said it's okay to dress as the alphabet or something simple like that, because we're living in a climate where people are so easily offended over nothing. They're so easily offended over nothing. If anybody was going to be really offended, it would be somebody like myself, my age or older. I was born in 1960, December 28th, 1960. And I've seen racism coming up. So this climate is a spoiled climate that we're living in. I don't even understand the hype behind a lot of stuff that people are making a big deal out of, because black people dress as white people all the time. There was a situation happened not too long ago where a white woman was representing was it some black hair care product or black makeup, and black women went crazy. But black people use Miss Clairol, Alberta VO5. Black females wear white women weaves and hair on their head. They put blue eye contact lenses in their eyes. They wear white women's makeup to lighten their skin. But nobody says anything about that. But if a white female does it, then she's a racist. See, so I think the big hype over Megyn Kelly, and I don't think she should have apologized. There's a video where she actually apologized. And I personally don't see why she felt the need to apologize. She did nothing wrong. She only spoke what was in her heart. She told the truth. And when I was coming up, it was the same thing. Nobody made a big deal out of it. Black people dressed as white people. White people dressed as black people. Nobody made a big deal out. When dudes came to school on Halloween, they had an afro. They had the big gold chains, the fake gold chains. They had the tight pants, or maybe they might have came as a pimp, as a black pimp, right? So, and for black people to dress as a pimp or a caricature, you know, that should be offensive because of what black people had to deal with in history past. But I think that we as a people are just too sensitive now. We are more sensitive than we're actually trying to achieve greatness in this life. Instead of taking advantage of opportunities, we're crying and complaining and bickering over nothing. So I don't feel Megyn Kelly should have been fired. I think that was an excuse to get rid of her anyway. But I also don't think that she should have apologized. There was nothing she did wrong to apologize. And like I said, Eddie Murphy, Dave Chappelle, and many other black entertainers didn't put a mask on to dress as a white dude or dress as a white female. And you look at the Wayans brothers, white chicks. They dressed up as white females, painted their face white, and the movie did great. People loved that movie, White Chicks. Nobody made a big deal out of it. But when a white person paints their face as a character, not a caricature to make fun of black people, but if they're dressing as a character for Halloween or whatever, and even if it's a caricature, you know, black people do that, again, like I said, they do it all the time. Like black people call each other's niggas. But if a white person does it, unless black people give you a pass, because there's a lot of white people out there, a lot of white dudes that have the nigga pass. They're able to use the term nigga because they hang out with niggas and they give them a pass. But if the white person don't have a pass by black people, now you're racist, right? So I just think it's ridiculous. I think it's stupid. And I don't think that she should have had to apologize, because that means that there should be no black people that will paint their face white imitating white people. The same standards that's set for Megyn Kelly and all other white people that can't dress in blackface should be the same standards of black people. You can't dress in whiteface. That's the controlled environment that we live in today. So, feedback, tell me what you think, subscribe, financially support the channel. Until next time, I'm fearless.